As we mentioned, hundreds of polling stations were forced to close amid blockades by demonstrators who say they want political reform. In Bangkok, several skirmishes broke out between protesters and frustrated citizens unable to cast their vote. Our correspondent Dusita Chumsuri reports.
This was the scene repeated at many voting venues around Bangkok. Anti-government protesters blocking polling stations on election day. They say the vote is unconstitutional and not in line with democratic values. But any hopes that protesters will honour their promise not to block voting were quickly dismissed.
We are calling on them not to vote. They must not cast their vote. We need to do this so that Thailand can start its reform process.
Around 130,000 police were deployed to protect polling stations. Their high-profile presence was an attempt to persuade people that it would be safe to cast a ballot.
Our main priority is to try and keep everything in order and avoid any confrontation between protesters and voters in places where trouble might flare. We've deployed more police officers to these areas to oversee them.
But then this. Officials and security personnel ordered to refrain from the use of force simply just stood by. In some of the capital's polling stations, voting was blocked off completely by anti-government protesters or cut short, to the frustration of these voters behind me who have lined up to cast their ballots. Blocked by anti-government protesters, these voters are ready, are determined to defy any blockade to get through. They succeeded, crashing through the gates, but to their dismay, voting had already been cancelled. The trickle of voters waiting never turned into long queues Thai elections are known for, but they are persistent in their hopes to preserve the democratic system.
I intended to vote today, but I didn't get to. I'm so disappointed and upset. This situation has been distressing me since the advance voting began. I don't know what's happened to Thailand.
Underlying this exercise in democracy is a more brutal campaign, one of violence resulting in 10 deaths and almost 600 wounded during the 3-month political unrest. The problem is, this election leaves the country exactly where it was even before polling day, stuck in a political deadlock. Dusita Chumsuri, CCTV, Bangkok.